Hello everyone, welcome back to Aarav HQ. Today I'm going to be showing you how to make a weather station with the ESP32, a DHT11 sensor, and a rain sensor. Let's get started. So to get started, we will need to create a Firebase project. We're using Firebase because it's easy to create a database and store and get data from it. So to make a database, you have to add a project name, for example, weather station or something like that. Continue, and default account for Firebase. And then when you create it, after it's done creating, you will need to create a database. And it's almost done. So to create a database, you will have to go into the build category and go to real-time database and click on create database. After that, you can select where you want your database to be, and we will start in test mode. So first we will be changing our rules to be a bit more secure. So in the .read, we will keep it true, anyone can read. And for write, we will keep it that if someone is logged in to the Firebase, then they will be able to write to the database. So we will do that by adding auth.uid is not equal to no. And we can remove these comments and that last comma. And as you can see in the rules playground, if you have get, even if it's not authenticated and you run it, the read will be allowed. For set, if you are not authenticated, it will deny. And if you are authenticated, we will be using anonymous, then it will allow our write. Let's publish those rules. And now we will have two fields in this. Those two fields are raining. This will be a Boolean. For now, we will keep it false. And temperature. So we'll call that temp. And this will be a number. So, for example, 26. Now, as you can see, since we have our auth required for write, we will also need to set authentication. But for authentication, all we will do is we will add a anonymous authentication. So with anonymous authentication, you can easily make it so that you're logged in. So the reason we are using anonymous authentication is because anonymous authentication can be done very easily in just one line of code. So now that we're done with creating the authentication and the database, we will create a web app. How will we do that? We will do that by clicking on the web icon, adding your web app nickname, and registering the app. After that, the add Firebase SDK part, we can do that later as well. So right now we'll just continue to call console. And now that we've finished that, we can start programming the ESP32. So now I will quickly take you over how to make the code for the ESP32. So first of all, you will have to add the ESP32 board if you don't have it by going to File, Preferences, and in the additional board manager's URL, you have to paste this. It's a GitHub link to add the ESP32 boards, and this will be included in the description of this video. After that, you have to go to Tools, Board, and from whatever Arduino board you have to go to the ESP32 Arduino and slide all the way down to your ESP32. I have an ESP32 Do-It DevKit version 1, so that's what I have selected. You will also need to select your port once you've plugged it in. So when I plug mine in, my port is COM3, yours might be different. Now after this, we will have to include Arduino.h, Wi-Fi.h, the Firebase ESP client, which you can install from the managed libraries. Also, we will have the add-ons, token helper, and RTDB helper. So once this updates, I have installed the packages. One sec. This Wi-Fi package, this should be built in, otherwise you'll have to install it normally. The DHT sensor library by Adafruit, and the Firebase Arduino client library for ESP8266 and ESP32. So once you include all of these, then we will define the sensor pin. For me, it's the pin 32 on the ESP32. The type, so that would be DHT11. Then your Wi-Fi name, your Wi-Fi password, your API key, which can be gotten from the Firebase console, and the database URL, which can also be gotten from the Firebase console. So we will get that from the Firebase console by So we can get both of our API key and our database URL from the Firebase console. Here we will have to go to our project settings. Down here we will have our API key in this Firebase config. So it will be this. And for the database URL, you have to go to the real-time database. And this is your database URL. Once you paste both of them into the Arduino IDE, then we can continue with the rest. So after that, we will just add some of these Firebase data auth and config. And we will also have integers, rain sensor pin. So that's for me 13. Whether it's raining or not, right now we keep that 1. 1 means dry. The temperature, this is optional. And then whether it's signed up okay or not. So that will be false at the start. And then we will also initialize the DHT sensor by giving it the sensor pin and the sensor type. In the setup, we will start the serial, start the DHT sensor, and make both of these pins input. After that, we will begin the Wi-Fi with our Wi-Fi SSID and password. And while the Wi-Fi status is not connected, we will just wait 0.3 seconds After that, we will set the config of our Firebase to the API key and database URL provided and sign up. After that, we will have the token status callback to our token status callback. Then we will begin with our config and this auth, and we will reconnect. Whether it should reconnect the Wi-Fi, we'll set that to true. We will then set the rating variable to digital read our sensor pin, and also update that in Firebase. In the loop, we will have this millis, which is again optional. Okay, I'll remove that for simplicity. We will have the if statement with our digital read. We will check that if it's dry, and just before this it was raining. Sorry, opposite. If it's raining right now and just before this it was dry, then we will update. And here as well, if it was dry and now it's raining, then we will update it to whatever it has to be. Then we can print both of these to get an idea of whether it's raining or not and such. But again, that's optional. Then after that, we will have a if statement. We will be flooring all our temperature readings because we don't want it to update very, very often. So we'll floor this and floor temperature, the previous temperature that is, and see if they're different. If they're different, then we'll update that in Firebase, and we'll set the temp to our temperature. So that's basically it for the code. As for the wiring, I'll show you that now. So for the wiring, I've made this simple wiring in Tinkercad. So I don't have the ESP32, the DHT11, or the rain sensor in Tinkercad, unfortunately. So instead I've used the Arduino instead of the ESP32. But when you do make it, you will have to use the ESP32. And I have this temperature sensor. So this is a TMP36. You will need a DHT11. And this is another temperature sensor. But you will need one of these rain sensors. The wiring is very simple. You will have to, for example, in this one, in the VCC, you will have to give power. So here. Then for the ground, you will have to give the ground signal. And for the digital output, you have to connect it up to pin 33 on the ESP32. Same for the DHT11, except it only has 3 pins. So for the VCC, we will have the power. For the ground, we will have the ground. And for the data, we will connect it up to pin 13 on the ESP32. So this is an accurate pinout. I have the ESP32 with the 30 pins. So this should give some idea. Here we have pin 33, this gray one. Then over here we have pin 13. These power positive and negative down here. And these are our sensors. So now that we have finished that, we can upload this to our ESP32. The way we will do that is by connecting the power to the ESP32, then plugging that into your computer. So once it's connected, you will have to go to Tools, Port, and select your serial port. and then click on upload. It will compile the sketch, which will take some time if you have this big of a program. And once that's done, it will ask you to press the boot button on the ESP32 for it to connect to it. So let's just wait this out. So once your project is done, it will ask for the connecting, and you have to hold down the boot button until it starts to write the program. If you do not press down the boot button and it goes all the way, then it will time out and you'll have to upload it again. Luckily, once it is compiled once, it will be faster the second time. So as you can see, when it says leaving hard resetting via RTS pin, that means that it's done and your program will have started. So now that I have started my ESP32, as you can see, the temperature that we had set to 26 has updated to 28, and depending on the live temperature, the temperature in the database will also change. Now, something that we can change, however, is the rain sensor. So quickly, I'll show you how a rain sensor works. A rain sensor basically, when moisture is put onto the rain sensor, that will increase the resistance. So normally the positive will go around the whole loop and come right back, and that will give a high signal because it's basically the signal going through a wire and coming back to a different area so that it can read it. Now, when there is water, however, there will be resistance in this. And that resistance will make it so that we will get 0 as the reading. That means like there will be less power. So we can easily understand that 1 means it's dry, 0 means it's raining. Now we can use that because when we don't have anything plugged in, so right now since this is out and there's nothing plugged in, there is no power going back. So the ESP32 thinks that it's raining. And if we switch to our real-time database, we can see that raining is true. Now when we plug this in, we will see it update in the database as well. And we can do that in real time. As you can see, I plug it out, it's raining, or it thinks it's raining. I plug it in and it's not raining. For the temperature, however, we will just have to wait for it to get warmer or get cooler. Now that we've finished the database part, we can move on to the part of the website that we will make. So this is the website that I've made in Visual Studio Code. There are 2 pictures, one of the rain and one of the sun. Now in the index.html, I have the title, I have linked a CSS file which has just some simple stylings, and I have linked the Bootstrap CDN. In the body, I just have a div which has a few classes to center line it, and then I have a card. The card has 2 images, one of the rain, one of the sun. The rain one's transparent at the start, and the sun one is visible. Inside the card body, I have the title, weather monitor, area for the rain text to go, so it can be like raining or not raining, so on. Then I have the temperature. So here I have the span, which has the temperature. Here I will again add the temperature along with the degrees Celsius sign. So in my index.js, I have my imports from the Firebase APIs. Here you will have to paste your Firebase config, which you can get from Firebase. I'll show you that in the end. Here I have just the app initialized, the analytics, the database. However, we won't use the analytics. There's also the rain and temperature references from the database. And here we have this on value. On value means that when this database reference, so basically when the temp variable changes, this function will be called, this one over here. And in here we are just getting the temp, which is a snapshot.val. Well, yeah, and then we also have the document.query selector. This selects this span, and then that span has we set the inner text to the snapshot value. After that, we have another on value one for the rain. This does a similar thing. However, here the sun and rain images, it adds and removes the transparent depending on what the status is. So as you can see over here, we have the transparent one, rain, and the visible one of sun. Also, I have in the body just the margin, height, width, and all. And for the card transparent, I just have display now. Now, to get your config, you will have to go over to the Firebase console. So here, we will go to project settings, go down here, we will go to CDN. So this is for the JavaScript. We will have these import statements. You can copy them from here. And this is the Firebase config of our weather station. Now, if we go back into the code, we can here change this comment to our Firebase config. Now, if we run this with live server, as you can see from our database, the temperature is 27 and the raining is false. And it's updated here. It's not raining, temperature 27. Now if we take out the sensor, rain sensor, it will turn into raining because it thinks it's raining. This is my weather station, and assuming this is outside and it's raining, some of the droplets will come on the rain sensor. And when they have come on the rain sensor, you can see that it shows raining on the website. When I dry them off, then the result will update to sunny. So as you can see, this is a fully functional weather station. That's all for today. Thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe for more videos. Bye!